I once introduced you in a room full of like colleagues and friends as one of the greatest salespeople, the greatest salesperson that I've ever met, which I still firmly believe. I think you are the best salesperson.
Well, let me just be clear. What he did not introduce me as was his wife.
She has to tell this part.
The mother of his children, the CEO of Brand Builders Group, just like I was some random person on the street, greatest salesperson I ever met. I'm like, how about your wife?
Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about something very important, how to generate more sales in a very tactical way. What do you need to do to sell more? What do you need to know about why people don't sell more? And what are what's the data you need to look at your business? How do you drive leads? How do you convert those leads? What are the mistakes that people are making related to those sales? And we're going to have a dialogue back and forth about that. Many of the things that we agree on, a few of the things that we see differently. And, this is something that AJ and I have spent our entire career studying, is just professional selling. And if you're a personal brand, this is something that you need to pay attention to. So, hi, babe. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I think one of the things that we should start with is defining, or for some of you listening, redefining sales. I still think currently sales is a 4-letter word. For a lot of people, they think it's sleazy or cheesy or unprofessional and that they're above it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think redefining sales in this setting, I think, is really important. And I just firmly believe we could talk about all the tactics, all the techniques, all the strategies, and none of them will work if you do not have confidence and conviction that this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? Sales is a good thing. It's a necessary thing. It's essential. And it's not some formula. It's a conversation. It's a important conversation that we all have to have. And if we just back it up to talk about what is sales and remind ourselves of how many mini sales we all make on a daily basis, I think it will just help put some context to that sales is not a 4-letter word. It's not a bad thing. It's not high pressure. It's not the old, used car salesman. I always wonder where that analogy came from. Like what used car salesman did so bad that he has ruined entire industry for everyone's sense? Because that is the one thing that people, I just don't want to be like the used car salesman. I'm like, who was this used car salesman and what did he do? Like, he has ruined it for generations of used car salesmen. But it doesn't have to be that way.
No, for sure. And by the way, Preston, can you grab a copy of our book? Let's put it there. There should be one in the closet out there. Yeah.
Also, before y'all leave, I'm going to show y'all mock-ups at the studio.
Oh, yes. I love that.
Of our home studio?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
I'm
see
excited
it.
about that.
Oh, yeah. Had Bo work on a little something before you left.
Something.
A little treat.
All right. So to pick up there's a story in this book.
I'm sorry. I want to address that because it's going to cut in. So there might be a moment of a fun. Wow. There might be a moment of like, boy, you know what I mean? Just to acknowledge.
The book is now there.
Wasn't there now.
Okay.
Got it. So that reminded me of a story in our book, so I had to bring it in because of this. And this is a story that you don't love, but it's a story of when I once introduced you.
It's a story you don't love. I have no problem with it.
Well,
this is the one part of our book that Rory tried to rewrite and edit out. And I was like, no, this is what happened, crazy person. It stays.
So you have to read the book if you want the whole story. But the part of the story that matters here is that I once introduced you in a room full of like colleagues and friends as one of the greatest salespeople, the greatest salesperson that I've ever met, which I still firmly believe. I think you are the best salesperson.
Well, let me just be clear. What he did not introduce me as was his wife,
She has to tell this part.
the mother of his children, the CEO of Brand Builders Group, just like I was some random person on the street, greatest salesperson I ever met. I'm like, how about your wife?
I said that before you got over there. I'm
Well,
sure of it.
I'm
There's no way I
sure.
didn't say that. Separate of all of that and how much of a jerk your husband can be at times, you are a phenomenal salesperson. And I mean, from a technical perspective, to go on what you were saying about if someone believes that sales is bad or wrong or manipulative, they're not going to do it. And if somebody understands the power of it, what you can build is life-changing. I mean, you have changed our life with this ability to sell. And for those people that don't know, because I do think this is an important part of the story, and it's sometimes why I tell it is, yes, you are the CEO of Brand Builders Group, and you run the company. You are the steward financially of our organization. Yes, you are a speaker. Yes, you are an author. But I think in some ways, first and foremost, you are a saleswoman professionally. And that's how we started before we even were dating, when we were business partners, we were selling together. And
I'm pretty sure I had to sell you on all those dates.
no way. No, that's one thing I closed you on.
I have many examples of it was the opposite, but okay.
This is going to be the most embarrassing episode of my life. So talk to me about what sales is not, because I think what you opened with is really good, and go, what do people think sales is that sales is not, and why do you think that?
Yeah, I think that people think sales is convincing someone to do something that they don't want to do. And I think that's where you get the icky, yucky feelings where it's like, I was tricked. It was like, whatever, what does they say? The snake oil salesman.
The snake oil salesman.
Again, what are those sayings? Like, where'd that come from? Where is their snake oil?
Yeah.
Where have I been missing all this?
And he must have been, I mean, even though he was manipulating people, he must have done a really good job, because a lot of people know about it.
Where are all these sayings coming from? This is going to be my evening homework assignment. But I think that's really where it comes from. It's like, oh, I was tricked, or I was misled, or I was lied to, or I was oversold, overpromised.
Taken advantage of. Manipulated.
And I think that's where it comes from. And I think at the end of the day, that all comes from this feeling of I'm being convinced to do something that I don't want to do. But as a consumer, as a buyer, I didn't have enough confidence just to say no. And I got sold into something. And, it's one of the things where I have to remind myself and our team, it's like we don't want to oversell. And at the same time, if you don't have enough confidence and conviction in what you're selling, then stop selling it. Like, if you're not going to ask someone to do it because you don't believe in it, then please leave. Like, go find something that you can be so convicted in that you can't not talk about it. And if you're not that, then that's when it feels salesy, because you don't even have enough internal confidence and conviction to go, no, you don't understand. This can change your life. And when you don't have that, it comes out as lying or false beliefs. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of us are. It's like, and it takes a lot of firsthand research and experience to have that level of conviction. I personally love it when I'm in a great sales presentation. Like, I love it
when you're a prospect being sold by
like when I'm a consumer, or like recruiting is also sales. I think we think that sales is just selling and buying of products and services. It's not. And I think recruiting is one of the greatest sales of all time, right? You did this, do this. It's the same thing. It's like when I have a candidate that I'm interviewing and they're like, can we just stop and let me tell you why I'm the best candidate on the planet for your company? I'm like, yes, I would like to hear that. I want to see how good you are at that. I've been even in conversations before where I was in a termination conversation and the employee being terminated was like, I don't really want to be fired. And I'm like, huh? What? And they're like, can I tell you why I don't think you should fire me? I'm like, yeah,
True
you
story.
should. And I literally got resold and rehired the person at the end of the call. I'm like, and I literally said to him, and I was like, if you can do what you just did to me on all your calls, we're going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it was like, no, I'm convicted. I want to be here. I want to do this. And that's when it doesn't feel like a sale, is when you believe in it so much that you're like, I have this story, and I have this proof, and I saw this happen and this happen. And it's not a sale anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transference of your own confidence and your own conviction in your products and services. What I tell people is like a sale can't happen until there's a transference of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens when you're real. And it can't just be a script. I think outlines are good. Frameworks are good. Scripts are no bueno because it disallows your humanity. It disallows real conversation. Now, are they good for learning and practice? Absolutely. But at some point, you have to put it away and you have to go, I'm just having a real conversation with another human being about something I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
It could be insurance. It could be a car. It could be a house. It could be personal branding. You can request a free call with us right now. It could be whatever it is.
So on that note, genuinely, one of the things that there's many things I love about you. Professionally speaking, one of the things that I've always loved is you and I have a very similar sales style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everything that you're talking about. And I think where a lot of the distaste has come from for the profession of selling is from sales trainers who teach selling, and they teach it as how to manipulate someone, how to convert a no into a yes, how to pressure someone. It's like sell or be sold.
Always
either
be
they're selling
closing.
you or you're selling them. Always be close. If you're not first, you're last. And it's like, you keep asking until they say yes, and like put your head down until they let you in the house. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much of that
Pressure.
energy
It's
and pressure. And you and I are some of the best sales people probably in the profession today. And we figured out you could do this by serving people and putting their interests first, but not being so soft that you're not convicted and you don't tell them what you believe. And so we created this service-centered selling methodology, which is what we teach at Brand Builders Group. So if you've ever had a bad taste in your mouth about sales or had a horrible experience from a salesperson, and that's turned you off for like, I don't ever want to be that, I really want to encourage you to listen to this whole episode and see if you don't get a different vibe. And this is part of why we started Brand Builders Group, was to go, we want to teach the world a different way to do this, a better way to do this. And ironically, you can close more sales with less pressure. You can close more sales by being less self-interested and more service-centered.
Yeah, but it's like, what does that mean, right? And I think at the end of the day, what most people do is they're too nervous, they're too underconfident, they're too self-conscious, or they just don't have the wherewithal to know that a sale is made when you ask questions, not when you share information.
Yeah. So how would you define selling then? If it's not all those things, it's not manipulative,
Very,
pushy.
very simple. Selling is a progression of questions. The end. From the very first question to the very last question, the very first question is, like our team asks is like, so how did you hear about Brand Builders Group? That's the beginning of the sale. The last is, what's your credit card? Like it's a progression of questions. And I think we forget somewhere in the middle, it's like, at the end of the day, our prospects, right? If they were willing, and I'm speaking about Brand Builders Group specifically, and I shared this with our team earlier this week, ironically, I'm like, I just want you to think about for a second, all the hoops. And so I want you to think about as you're listening, how does this apply to you and your business? But for us, I want you to listen to all the hoops that a prospective client has to go through to actually become a client. So I want you to listen to this. They have to listen to a podcast or watch a piece of content or hear about us from a friend. right? So they have already invested minutes or hours or years in some cases of learning from us, hearing from us, watching us, hearing their friend talk about us, whatever it is. So they've already invested some amount of time into investigation, or in some cases, they've read the book, they've listened to the book. There's already a time investment there. Then they had to have enough interest to request a call with us. They had to fill out a microform. Then they had to fill out an application. Okay. That takes 5 to 7 minutes. Then they had to go through all of that, give us their personal information, share their dreams, share their income levels, all the things that we ask for to make sure that we're selling the right thing to the right person in the right season of life. Then they have to go to a calendar and make time on their calendar and give it to us. They have to sign up for that call. Then they have to show up for that call. These free calls that we do, they are free strategy calls. Then they have to go through an hour of more talking and listening and learning. Then they have to be willing to give us their financial information to sign up for this. Then they have to read our agreement, agree to all of it, sign it, pause right there. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
So I was sharing this with our team earlier. I'm like, don't you tell me in week 1 or in month 1, they're not interested anymore. That's a bunch of baloney. No, we need to resell their interest. No, they lost interest. That's our problem to own. That's not theirs. They already went through all the hoops. They already filled out in the information. They already shared what they wanted to do. Now we must deliver, right? Nobody loses interest after 2 weeks after all that they just went through. That's a lot of hoops. Now, can life events change and circumstances change? Sure. But this whole idea of, oh, they got cold feet. After all that, here's what happens when I think people get cold feet. That is always a sign to me that somebody just got oversold. Cold feet means they got oversold. It almost was like, it can't be that good. Can it? And I think that happens most often when we're doing too much talking and that we're not doing enough asking. So back to this concept of sales is just a progression of questions. It is a true, genuine desire of curiosity. Like, I really actually want to know, why did you request a call with us today? What are you doing in your personal brand? How are you trying to use this to grow your business? Like, what do you want to do? What are your dreams? What's not working? Why isn't that working? What have you tried before? Like, those are genuine questions to go. It's not, how can I sell you? It's, are we a fit for you?
Amen.
And I think that's the difference of someone who's like, I really need to know that you're the right fit because I'm about to lay it on you. And lay it on you means, I love that we've gotten to know you today. We are not a fit for you. And a great salesperson is not trying to make a commission. A great salesperson is not trying to make a sale. They're trying to make a relationship. And I think that's important. And I have no problem at all any day of going, I don't think we can help you right now. I don't think you have the time nor the funds to give this the investment it requires. However, I believe that you could be a fit for us one day, so I'm going to send you off with free resources. I have no problem. I'm not afraid of where the next sale is going to come from. I have 100% confidence I can go find another person who is the right fit. And that makes it easy for me to hold everything loosely and not have a scarcity mentality, which makes it a low pressure environment. I have a question of like, I don't know if this is a good fit for you. Or I will find out if it is. And when it is, I'll be like, I'm going to tell you right now. I know exactly who we're looking to work with, and it's you. I know exactly what we can do for someone like you. This program is built for you. I'm going to tell you why based on all the information you just learned. And at the end, I'm going to help you get signed up. And that's the difference of, no, I know it's the right fit for you versus, I don't know, I hope it's the right fit for you. So I'm going to go through the script I have and fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think to the thing about what's the definition of selling and asking the questions, I would submit that you go, we're asking those questions to help someone figure out if this is the right fit for them. It's not about me getting a sale. It's not me, the salesperson, versus you, the prospect. It's me with you versus your fears, your worries, your excuses, your procrastination, or just you not being the right fit for what we do, which is also okay. And we have to discover those questions. And I think when you're asking these questions, one of the things that I've become convicted in, like you said, Maybe some people don't have the time, they don't have the money, for sure. What I've really become convicted in is, for a program like ours, somebody has to flat out have the desire and the passion to fight for their dream.
Amen.
They have to say, I'm going to change the freaking world. Like, I am here on a mission. I am a mission-driven messenger.
I will make the time.
I will make
find the
time.
money.
And when we ask questions about, tell me about your dreams, or why is this important to you, or how would that make you feel? If they don't have a strong enough desire to do the thing that we help people do, they're going to die on the road, which is what happens to most people, is like, they don't have what it takes because they don't have the desire. And we go, if that's you, I want to find out in the initial conversation.
Early on.
Like, I don't want to waste your time or my time, you signing up for something that you think is like, oh, they're just going to do this for me. No, we're going to show you the way that has been proven again and again and again. But it's a difficult road. It's a hard journey. And you have to prove to me that you want it. And not to me, you have to prove to yourself that you want it. You have to articulate out loud why this transformation is important to you, because when you start on the journey, it is going to get hard. You are going to get busy. You are going to face rejection. There are going to be excuses. There is competition. There is economic challenges. And you have to make a decision. I'm going to rise above all that. And if that doesn't come out in the sales conversation, they never articulate it. The moment they hit that first barrier, they're like, you know what, I'm out. I can't do this program. And it might be because we oversold them, but it also might be because we didn't ask the right questions for them to truly sell themselves on the power of this journey and why it matters.
Yeah, and I think that happens outside of just what we do here at Brand Builders Group. Like, I just see it all the time is we ask really surface level questions. So we get really surface level answers. And then we're like, okay, I asked my 5 questions. Now I'm going to move into my presentation. And that's not what we're talking about. It's, you have to have enough wherewithal to go, I don't feel like they've gotten it. And I think that's where there just has to be a natural sense of curiosity. Like, we cannot, anyone, doesn't matter what sales training company is, give you every single probing question, every next best question on the planet. That's where you just have to have a genuine curiosity of, do I think what I offer can serve this person? And no one knows that better than you. And that's how you have to figure out how to ask the right questions. And sometimes, you need coaches, you need outside support to help do that. But at the end of the day, no one's going to be able to sell your products and services as good as you. And so you've got to have enough confidence and conviction that you can deliver. And I think sometimes the sales don't happen when we're lacking our own conviction and our own confidence in what we do.
Totally. Yeah. I think of this, like, when people think of sales, they think of the like used car salesman. But when I think of sales, I think of like a doctor. Like, when someone sits down with me, I have the same level of experience and knowledge and education in the professions of marketing and sales as a doctor, as a surgeon does. And I view my profession in this way. And so when somebody is sitting with me, I'm not telling them what to do. I'm listening to what they need, and I'm gonna prescribe a solution for them. And that solution might be our self-study virtual program. It might be our one-on-one, our flagship one-on-one program. It might be a private 2-day experience. It might be free resources. It might be, we're not the right fit for you at all. I think you should go check this out. But when you go talk to a doctor, they hook you up, they take tests, they do diagnostics, they take readings, and then they interpret the data that you give to them, and they make a prescription back to you. That's what I think a truly great professional seller does. And they have to be an expert both on the profession of selling and the sort of conversational tactics, I guess I will call them. But then they also have to have the conviction in what they're doing to go, like, you need surgery, you need a different diet plan, you just need to exercise, you need to read this book. Like, there's a different prescription.
And honestly, that's why I always tell people that sales is the last thing that the founder should outsource. It's like, it's the last thing. And ironically, it's the first thing that a lot of business people, entrepreneurs, they want to outsource. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, no one is going to have that first level experience, context, expertise, case studies, history. as you.
Passion.
Yeah, like, yes, like you outsource everything else, but you keep sales until the very, very end until you have somebody else who has been there long enough, who's groomed up long enough, who has their own stories, who has their own experience with the products and services. And that right there is exactly why I tell people all the time, no, sales is the last thing that you hire for. It's the last thing that you outsource, because at the end of the day, so much of selling is just social proof. I'm like, I've done it for someone else. Here's the results they experienced. I'm pretty sure if it worked for this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person, I can make it work for you, right? And a lot of that just comes from that firsthand awareness, and it's really hard for a brand new hire to have that, where it not feel a little scripted, a little borrowed.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're going to have to do that, and that's fine. But that's, again, it's the last thing, not the first thing you do.
I think the energy here is, if you see an amazing movie, you go tell all your friends, you got to see this movie. Like, for me, what was that movie? The Greatest Showman, right? When I saw that movie, I was telling everybody, I'm like, you have to see this movie. Like, the story, the message, the music, the dancing, the acting, like, you have to go see this. I didn't get paid a commission for that. It's the same thing when you go to an amazing restaurant and you're like, oh my gosh, every single bite like melted, the most delicious thing. Or you see a play, or you go to a city, or you when you have that kind of experience, you're passionate to tell people. Too many entrepreneurs and personal brands are more passionate about a movie they saw than their own product. It's like, I'll tell you about this amazing movie, but like, I won't tell you about this thing I've spent my life building. And I think that's kind of the energy that we need to marry up to go, like, to your point about being convicted in your own transformation, that you can help provide. Because if you're not, why are you selling in the first place?
Well, and I think that's a lot of at least what I see today. And, we've been in the professional business of selling for 20 years. Our company prior to this was a professional sales coaching and training business. So this is where I got started in business. You started in college. But one of the things that I see more frequently today than ever before is people tell me, it's like, I'm doing all the things, it's just not working. And I'm like, what are these things that you're doing? Can you just walk me through? I need to know exactly. And they're like, well, I've sent all these emails. And I'm like, okay, you've sent emails. Okay. I'm posting on social media. I built a website. And I'm like, I just want to be very clear. None of that is selling. That is marketing. That is not selling. And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you need to talk to someone. Like, what conversations have you had, and how many have you had? Send me a recording. I'll audit it. And they're like, well, I haven't done that. I'm like, then you have not been selling. I don't know what you think you're doing.
Thus why you have no revenue.
Thus why you have no sales. You cannot have sales without selling. And there's like this disconnect between marketing and selling. And it's like, well, I got this email template, I customized it, and I sent it to everyone I know. I'm like, when you said you have a template and you customized it, what does that mean? And it's like, and I think that's something too that I think people forget. It's like, how many emails do you get?
Right.
Like, do you want some sort of generic? Like, are you going to respond to some generic, half personalized, half customized email asking for a referral? No, no offense. I'm going to delete that. I do not have time for this. Now, if it was genuinely personalized, and more importantly, if it was a phone call, if it was a meeting, if it was a coffee, and you have my time and attention, I just don't have time. Like, I get hundreds of emails every single day. What is different about yours that I'm going to sit there and go, you know what? This person that I kind of know that's asking me to do something that I'm not even really sure what they're asking for, that I can definitely tell is general and templated. I just don't have time for this. If they don't have the time to pick up the phone call and have a conversation with me, I do not have a time for your email. And I say that to good friends. It's like, you want to go on a walk? You want to have coffee? Let me know. Until then, I don't even know what you're asking me to do. And I'm definitely not going to try to figure it out for you. So, like, that's not how it works. So I would just encourage you too, if you're asking yourself, like, why aren't my sales growing? It's like, How many conversations are you having? Not emails, definitely not social media posts, not even DMs. Now, can you sell in your DMs? Can you sell an email? I'm not saying no to that. Yes, but that is marketing. That is not actual relationship building. You want to get real sales, then talk to real people. And I think that's partly step one is people are going, do people still do that? Yes, people still do that. They get on Zoom. They have copy. They have phone calls. Yes, we still do that. And then I think the other thing is like knowing what to say. I think people really struggle with, okay, you're talking about questions. Tell me what they are. Like, how do I ask for the business? And I think it's a really interesting thing because a lot of people really, they're just like, I'll do it, but I don't know what to say. What questions do I ask? And at the very end, like, what do I ask them to do? So I think it would be worthwhile if we actually got into some of the tactics of that.
Yeah, I mean, totally. So obviously we have very specific tactics and things of what to say and walk people through the presentation. But I think the what somebody the thing to underscore, which you've said several times, is questions. It's selling is not about being a smooth talker. Being great at sales is about being a master question asker. It's about being a master listener and knowing what questions you have to ask in order to get someone to buy. And I think we can go into whatever tactics you want to discuss, but I think from a high level, there is a cost to buying anything, right? So there's a cost of time and money and energy to buy something. When you're selling, we have to ask the whatever questions are necessary to help someone understand that the thing that they're going to get is worth more than the cost that is going to be asked of them. Also, similarly, the thing that we're going to help them prevent is going to be worth more than the cost of the thing that we are asking them for. And at a high level, that's all selling is. And to go, what questions do I need to ask someone to where their own answers articulate for themselves why the thing they're going to get from us is worth more than what they're going to pay us to get it. Or asking questions that help them articulate for themselves why the thing they're going to get from us is going to save them more headaches and pain than what they're going to have to pay us to save that pain. And if you understand that, then you understand selling. If you don't understand that, I don't care what scripts you're using, what questions, what magical talk tracks you think you have, like it's not going to work. All of the tactics are based in it's a teeter-totter, right? It's like what is more valuable, what I'm going to get or what do I have to pay? And so the tactics all, I think, stem around that.
Yeah, it's interesting is to that, the best, like I said earlier, like I love being the prospect. I love being the consumer when it's a great sales presentation. But the best sales presentation best presentations that ever happen, I've already made my decision to buy before they ever started presenting.
Totally.
Right? And it's like we live in a world where I'm not learning about you for the first time on this phone call. Like, that's not actually what's happening, right? If I have come to you, it's because I've been doing research. I heard about you from a trusted resource. I've already done a little bit of my investigation. And I think sometimes...
And that's marketing. Marketing is all that pre-work.
Yeah, the pre-fluence.
Yeah.
But it's like I've already established I have a problem or a desire and I need support. I need help. And if I'm on the phone with you, if I'm willing to give you my time, that means I'm already semi-sold. I just need to verify that you are who you say you are. You do what I think you do, and I can afford it. And I think that we miss that too. And we get into these sales conversations as if they don't know anything about us. And it's like, I think that's a rarity. I think most people are not getting on your calendar today if they don't know a little bit about you because it's so easy to.
Totally. And they're not buying because they know about you. They're buying because they have a problem and they think you can help them. And all that matters is, can you help them or not? Like, they don't need to know your company history. They don't need to know how many employees you have. They don't care how many customers you have. They only care about one thing. Can you solve this problem for me? And if you can, and I can afford it,
Then
we got a deal.
But I think that's a lot of people, they skip through that and they're asking questions that don't matter.
Yes.
They're talking about things that don't matter. They think rapport building is talking about
The
how we
weather.
both grew up with horses on farms and
Totally.
we,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
like,
I'm so glad you said this. This is like the dumbest thing. It's like, hey, let's talk about the weather and build rapport, as if like talking about the weather is
has
gonna,
anything to do with what we're doing.
yeah,
here.
like does that really create trust of like,
No.
hey, we both like the Tennessee Titans. You should buy from me. Like
give me all your personal information. We like the same team. Yeah, but that happens a lot. Like, I think people really confuse what is rapport building. Rapport building is where you're actually establishing trust.
yes.
And trust happens when you're talking about problems that you have that I can solve. We're talking about real needs, not surface level. Where'd you grow up? I don't know where that accent came from, but
I like it.
where
I love that
did
Southern
you
accent.
know?
I love when it comes out like that's the best.
But let's talk about rapport building. It's not like, and I even mentioned this earlier. It's like one of the first questions you ask is, how did you hear about us? That has a specific intention behind it. What I really want to know is what lead channel, right? So if you said, hey, I heard about you on a podcast. Yeah, what podcast? Now, I actually already know that because you already put it on your application.
Right, we already tracked it in our
I
market.
already know that. So why would I bring it up? Right? And it's because I am leading them into a conversation where I already know where it's going. Right? I already know they heard us about, this podcast from this person. But what I really want to know is, well, how long have you been following that person? And I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out what level of trust existed with what you just heard and learned about us. And if they go, you know what, I've never listened to that podcast before. It was just this random episode. Well, then I know like there's not a lot of weight there. Right? But if they're going, oh man, I've been listening to that podcast for 10 years. I do everything they recommend. Then I know it's like, oh, there's a high level of trust there. And I want to know, well, what was it about this particular episode that stuck out to you? Right? So it's like I'm establishing like what was the trigger point? What was said that made you go, huh? I'm going to track down that link, fill out that application, and get a call on those people's calendars.
That's also a relationship you have in common, which I think is really, really
that's rapport
trust building. Is
that is
relationships
versus, oh, that's so cool. I love that podcast too. Check mark, question asked, moving on. It's like, why are you asking the question? If you don't know why you're asking the question, then don't ask it.
And I think the real rapport is, like you said, it's digging into what is their dream, what is their vision, what is the thing they want in their life compared to where they're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
We call that the gap in our curriculum. We just call that the gap. It's like that's the sale. It's what do they want versus where are they now. If there's a gap that they have articulated, there's an opportunity for a sale.
Yep.
If you don't get them to articulate that gap, there is no chance of the sale. But it's like, it's not because I'm asking you about the weather. It's because you're telling me about your hopes, your dreams, your passions, the things you care about. And you're telling me about your struggles and the pain and the problems, which is how you do real life with people. Like surface level conversations are things you do with strangers. Oh, where are you from? What do you do for a living? When you have conversations with family, it's like, what's going on in your life? Like, what are you struggling with? Like, what's breaking your heart? Why is your day so hard? That's where real relationship happens, is in the meaningful conversations about our dreams and ambitions and our pain and our problems. And if this is one of the things that we say all the time, right? You are selling when they are talking.
Yep.
Specifically when they are talking about their hopes and dreams and their pains and their problems. That is how and when real relationship, I feel like, is being built.
Yeah, totally. And I think one of the things I would just add to that is, now I've been doing sales for a long time, spent the first 13 years auditing sales teams, sales companies. And one of the things that I see all the time is distracted listening. And it's like we're going through the motions of ask the question, get the answer, ask the next thing. And
you mean on the behalf of the salesperson?
On the behalf of the salesperson. And like one of the things that I just want to just really strongly comment on to this gap. If you're not actively listening, you never hear the gap.
Totally.
You miss the gap. right? This whole idea of like, hey, I'm doing the sales call and checking emails or trying to respond to DMs. I'm like, this person, for context, I want to rewind. It's like, this person is actually telling you their life's dreams, which they have maybe never articulated to another human being before. They're also telling you that these dreams are not happening at the speed or the rate or at the velocity, like whatever it is that they want. They're struggling. They're sitting here telling you, I have this dream and I don't know what to do. And you're there multitasking, making coffee, checking emails. It's like
Driving.
like, what are you
cannot
doing?
have a sales call when you're driving, period. Ever.
Like,
Never.
if for no other reason of going, this person is like giving me their life story. They deserve my undivided attention for the time allotment that I have, whether they buy from me or not.
Amen.
And I think that is where the service component of true salesmanship comes in. It's not trying to convince you to do something you don't want to do. It's finding a right fit and then giving you an opportunity to opt into it. But those opportunities never happen if you don't listen. You have to listen. And that means, you have to put them first. You have to stop your multitasking. This is your job. This is what you get paid to do. And most salespeople, if you do it well, you get paid really well, right? And if you don't do it very well, you don't get paid very well. So I think it was like one of the best things that you can do as a really good salesperson is to listen, but not just for the sake of, taking notes. Listen to what they're telling you. Like, actively listen. And I think that's a really big deal because that's where you find the gap. And if you're not listening, you'll miss the gap. Then you move right into your generic presentation and you wonder why no one's buying.
No one's buying. Yeah. One of our BBG mantras we see all the time is like, the best marketing strategy in the world is to care. It's like to care about the customer. And it's like, if you don't care about them, like if you're sitting on a sales call only caring about your commission or not even caring about something else, like they're going to feel that. People buy when they feel cared for. People buy when they feel protected, particularly when you're recruiting, right? Like if you're recruiting someone, it's like if they feel like you care for them, they're gonna be open to joining you. If they feel like you're just filling a spot on the roster, like that doesn't matter.
Comes across too.
And one of the things that salespeople have an unusual and incredibly rare opportunity and blessing is they talk to more strangers in a week than most people talk to in their entire life. And I genuinely believe what you said, that you have a chance to serve. When you're in sales, like to genuinely serve all day long. You said this, which is true. People always ask us about our past. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Almost nobody in our life asks us about our future.
What are your dreams?
Yeah. What are your goals? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What is the biggest hope you have for your future? Almost nobody asks us that question. Salespeople should live in that question, live in that universe. And even if they don't buy, you provided an amazing service to help somebody get clear on what they want in their life, even if they didn't buy. And that's, we say this all the time. We say, when you're selling, there are wins and losses. But when you're serving, there are only wins. There's only wins. You cannot lose on a sales call if you show up to serve them and you go, treat each person like it is their life story. I had someone tell me this one time, which I actually thought was pretty cool, is they said, every person is a movie. Like every person's life story is a movie. And if you ask questions the right way, it will be as riveting and dramatic and as funny and as inspiring and as heartbreaking as the greatest movies you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And when you're selling, it's like, this is your opportunity to understand them. And another place where I think, going all the way back to the beginning, why I think people struggle with selling is they think, I have to have the gift of gab. I have to have the magic words. I have to be talking the whole time. No, you don't.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
It's the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, and I would say, just to round this out, to talk about, again, sales is just a progression of questions from the very beginning to the very end. I think that most people struggle the most at the end, and they don't know how to ask
we should
for
talk
the sale.
about this a bit.
They don't know how to ask for the business, and they get all jumbled up, and maybe you nailed the questions and you did great at the finding the gap and presenting, and then you get to the very end and you're like, so what do you think? And it's like, I think I need to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you don't. You should know. And it's like, I think this is like one of those things where I think this is where a formula is very helpful, because I think a lot of people don't have conversations like this in normal life. And you have to train yourself that in a sales conversation, because that's what it is, it's a conversation, you have to go, hey, this is how it's going to start and this is how it's going to end. But you don't do that in normal life and conversations. And that's where people get mixed up. Like if I'm having dinner with my girlfriend, I don't say, okay, we're going to start our conversation at the very end. This is what we're going to decide on, right? And then go back. Like we don't do that. But in a sales conversation, what really should happen to help you prepare for the close is you have to start by telling them that you're going to end with it in the beginning.
Yeah, you got to let them know their decision is going to happen
Yeah,
at
it's
the end
like,
of this
hey, Rory,
conversation.
we're going to have some great conversation today. I'm going to learn about what you're looking for. I'm going to tell you about what we offer. I will be honest with you to tell you if it's a fit. And if it is a fit at the very end, I'm going to ask you if you're ready to move forward. And all I need you to tell me is yes, I am, or no, I'm not. I'll make it very clear for you today that this is not a maybe. This is not, I need to think about it. You will know today if this is a fit for you. All I ask is that between now and then, you be very clear and very certain that it's a big yes or it's a big no. Are we good? Let's go.
So that's step one. You got to set that up early in the conversation if you don't. And yes, when you get to the end, there are a series of questions. We can talk about them. But coming back to something you said earlier, the number one reason why people don't close more is because they don't believe it's a service to close someone. And so they think they're doing people a favor by letting them think about it. You are not doing people a favor by letting them think about it. Humans are procrastinators. They, by default, we only do things when we're forced to do them. We know we should pay our taxes, we wait till the last minute. We know we should start on the homework assignment, we wait till the last minute. We know we should lose weight. We know we should eat better. We know we should exercise. We know we should have difficult conversations. All we do is procrastinate. It is a service to teach people and help people and to facilitate a process to help people make a decision. Now, I would say whether they say yes or no is not really your concern.
Yeah.
Yes, you get paid for the yeses, you learn from the nos, but as a great salesperson, your job
is to avoid the maybe.
Avoid the maybe is to help them make a decision. Not just because it's like, oh, we don't want maybes because we don't want to waste our time or we don't get paid for maybes. That is true. But it's really because a maybe is a massive disservice to the person you're talking about. To the person you're talking to. Because if they say no, they can move on and find something else. If they say yes, they can get committed and locked in to get busy doing what they need to do with you. If they say maybe, you allow them to be stuck. You allow them to stay in this weird spot of indecision. And that is where dreams go to die, is in indecision.
I mean, personally, as a personal salesperson, a maybe is an indicator that I did not do a good job.
Amen.
Like that, the only thing that a maybe tells me is that I did not do a good job. I did not find the need. I did not find the gap. I did not close the gap, or I did not ask for the business. So I would just say, if you're someone who's like, every call I have or every meeting I have ends in a send me a proposal, let me think about it.
Which, by the way, is 99% of you. I mean, just so don't be, if you go, oh my gosh, that's me. It's us too.
That has been us too.
We struggle that with our team.
The only thing you should be asking yourself is, how quickly can I go back and watch my game footage? Right? And if you're not in the habit of recording your sales calls, that's step one. Because if you don't go back and watch yourself, then you never know what you do well and what you missed. And I'm telling you right now that if what you're getting is a lot of maybes, a lot of let me think about it, send me a proposal, send me information, follow up with me, you miss something important. And that is your job to find out, not theirs. That's not their job. That's your job.
And that's where I do want to invite you, if you're listening to this conversation going, I need to become a professional at sales. I need to know what questions to ask. I need to know how to find the gap. I need to be a better listener. I need to be armed with this. You need to request a call with our team because we will change your life. Like if you want to be better at this, we are the best in the world at teaching people how to do this, specifically for personal brands. To help you feel confident and comfortable, go to freebrandcall.com/podcast, request a call with our team. the curriculum inside our, body of work is called Pressure-Free Persuasion, and we go through all of this meticulously step by step. And you need to request a call because we know something about this, and most people struggle, and we struggled, and our team struggled, and our clients struggle. So you're not wrong or incapable if you're not doing it. You're normal.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to do this. So
And it's a process of repetition and practice.
So you talked about setting it up in the beginning. At the end, the metaphor I would tell people is just think of closing as a series of stoplights.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to ask some questions, and if they give you an affirmative, that's a green light, you move to the next question, and then you ask that question, and you keep going. If they give you a red light, that means they're not a fit. We should end the conversation, ask for referrals, leave them on a high. If it's a yellow, that's objections. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But a couple simple questions is when you get to the end, okay, you've done the whole thing. One of my favorite transitions is don't say, what do you think? Or how does this sound? Okay. What I would say is, what's your favorite part of what you've seen? Or what's your favorite part of what you've heard today?
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is going, their response is going to tell you everything you need to know about whether or not they want this, right? If they are like, oh my gosh, I love this and I need this and that would help me so much, and you go, this person has sold themselves, they are ready to go. If they're like, oh, well, this is kind of cool, you're like, the sale has not been made.
The sale has not been made, which means do not proceed.
Do not proceed.
Close.
Go back.
Go back.
And
ask
the questions and demonstrate. Like do the other parts of the sale. But if they're like, oh, gosh, yeah, I really love this and and then I would say, okay, great. Well, it at this point it sounds like this is something you want to do. Am I right about that? And I would just try to get some confirmation about conceptual agreement. Is this something you think would be beneficial? Is this something you think would be helpful? And if they say yes to that question, great. There's another green light. And then my favorite question to sort of like really land the plane is I'll just say, okay, at this point, is there any reason why we shouldn't move forward?
Mm-hmm.
It's what we call an inverse question. We have 9 categories of closing questions that we teach in our curriculum. That particular question is called an inverse question, where you structure the question in a way that if they say no to the question, they said yes to the sale. And it's my favorite because it's the most casual, nonchalant. At this point, is there any reason why we shouldn't move forward? And if they say no, there's not, then that's the green light. And you go, great. In order to get you started, I just need to capture some information from you. And then you go through, cash collection, which is a whole step of like, we gather information and we start with the least intrusive stuff, like what's your email, your phone number, and then it gets more intrusive, your address and the security code, and ultimately, the credit card, and, there's a whole separate body there. But that's the like a little piece there to help people transition. Is where they fall apart is like at the end of the presentation, gradually transitioning into the actual decision.
And the reason that's why people fall apart is it's the most awkward.
Yes.
And so I would just encourage you, like, have a set of questions that are just like muscle memory that you use every single time. This is the part of the sale that I believe should be the most scripted. Everything leading up to this is an outline. It's a framework. It's fluid. It's personal. It's tailored. But when you get to the close, and once you start asking these yes, no questions, these stop, go, stop light questions, as Rory mentioned, it needs to be the most scripted of anything you do so that you don't go off course.
That's it. It's for you. It's
for you.
You weenie out.
You weenie out. And so that you don't go rogue.
You abandon ship.
Because I've heard so many calls get great, and at the very end, they just like completely lose it. And I'm like, stick to the script. Go back to the script. Ask the questions. Follow the order. And it's like, and I would just encourage you, like, even to me, like today, it's like, when you get to the close, it's like, just read it. It's like, once they say, there's nothing that would be holding me back. Yeah. It's like, okay, great. Do you want to pay monthly or annual? Great. Let me go ahead and get the email you want on file. Okay, wonderful. Address that's connected to your billing. Great. And it's like, follow your script. Just read it. So you don't have to wonder. You don't have to be awkward. You just read it, because that part is formulaic.
Yep.
That end part is very formulaic.
And you're doing a massive service to people to help them decide. Even if they decide no.
Yeah.
A no is not a loss for you. A maybe is a loss for you. A maybe is you did amateur, you were soft, you weenied out. Like a no is not a loss.
Mhm.
A yes is a win. A no is a win because it's a win for them.
Yep.
Maybes are the
Well, it's a
sign we're
win
not
for
doing
you
this right.
too, because if it's not a fit, you need to discover it on the sales call.
Amen. You're not chasing them down. They're not canceling on you a month later. They're not canceling their
Listen,
credit card.
I want to throw one thing in, and we're going to close this segment of our episode. If if you sell the wrong person in, it is damaging to you and your business and your team. You know why? Because they're not going to get results. And you know what? They're going to tell people.
Yep.
That's a problem. Do not sell people who are not a fit for your program into your program because you get a commission, right? And you can say that as the owner, the founder, salesperson, whatever your role is. It's not good for you or the reputation of your organization. You sell people into, I know you're a fit and you're going to have amazing results and you're going to tell everyone you know. And when that doesn't happen, it's not good for you, right? Word of mouth marketing is still the number one way that people find organizations and sign up for products and services. So make sure that your word of mouth marketing is good. And you make sure it's good by getting the right people into the program who can get results, and you keep the wrong people out. That is your job as a salesperson.
Hallelujah, Vaden. I love it. So freebrandcall.com/podcast. If you need to get better at this, we can help you. Now it is time for community questions. This is where we answer the questions that have been voted up by the members inside of our community, where they say, this is what we want to know about. This is what we're curious about. So let's get into it.
If you're stuck with the dilemma of, I'm afraid to ask for the business because it's expensive with bunny ears, and so you don't, because you don't want to burden them, then one, this is not a tactical issue. This is a mindset issue. And it's so interesting that this is the question that got asked during this particular segment, because before Rory and I started recording today's segment, I had the privilege to interview a friend of ours, Scott Harrison. And he is the founder and CEO of Charity Water, one of the largest, most trusted charities in the entire world. They've raised over $1 billion in charitable givings. But I'm going to pause right there, because when he said $1 billion earlier, I was like, pause. I just want to make sure everyone heard that. 1 billion with a B. And he's looking at me like, why are you stopping to talk about that? And I personally had a revelation today, and he was like, AJ, that's such a small goal. And I said, Scott, it's $1 billion. Like, that's a lot. Like, most charities aspire to that. And he goes, it's a fraction of what we should be going after. I'm embarrassed that after 20 years, we haven't hit it. He said, we've just now hit it. He said, this is such a small amount of where I thought we would be at 20 years in. And I was sitting there just getting schooled in mindset. And it was so good for me today, because he was like, that is small thinking, AJ. Do you know how much money there is in the world? He said there's more than $300 billion right now sitting in donor advised funds in the U.S. I'm trying to achieve 1% of that. That's embarrassing. And I was like, whoa, that is powerful. And he goes, let me tell you this one quick story. And this is the story that I want to share with you, because this is a mindset shift. What we do as human beings is we think too small. All day long, every day. We forget that we serve a big God and we have a real big Jesus. And we look at our tiny little problems and we make them really big. And they're not. We think what is a lot of money to us is a lot of money to other people. And that's not your job. You don't know how much money is their banking account. Rory says this all the time, that expensive is relative. Expensive compared to what, right? If your child was sitting in a hospital bed, would this be expensive? Or would you find out a way, right? If your car breaks down, it's like, is it expensive or are you going to figure it out, right? Expensive is relative. How much we can afford versus someone else is relative, and you don't get to make that decision for other people. And the story that Scott told me today, which it's going to hang with me for a minute, because I felt like that interview was just for me today, as he said, I remember going in to a Goldman Sachs office, and I was going to make a big ask from one of the top people at Goldman Sachs. And he goes, and I was nervous. He says, but I knew I was going in and I was going to make a big ask for a huge donation to Charity Water. And I go in and I asked and I said, would you ever consider making $1 million donation? And he said, and I was so nervous. And he smiled. And, what Scott said, he said, leading up to it, I was so afraid to ask because I didn't want to offend him. I didn't want him to be like, man, you are so greedy. Like, this is such an offensive ask. How dare you ask so much from me? And he said, you know what? I'm flattered that you would think I'm that generous. What Scott thought was offensive, the other gentleman thought was flattering. And he said, you know what? I would consider that. And I'm privileged to know that you think I'm that generous. So yeah, I will make that donation. And that was a eye-opening moment for me in this interview today of like what we think is offensive, what we think is burdensome could save someone else's life, could bring them peace that they've never had before, could show them a way out that they don't see a way out in. What we think is a burden, what we think is too expensive, could be the way to generational change in their family, to hitting their dreams, to changing the world, to helping other people find hope and victory. Like, that's not expensive. It is a small dollar amount. It is a small price to pay for a lifelong sense of change and purpose and ultimate, like, you living into your purpose. And we think it's expensive. It's expensive not to ask. It's expensive to live your whole life feeling like, I wish I could have done more. I wish I would have known something sooner. I wish somebody would have told me this earlier. Well, that's our job. As business owners, as entrepreneurs, as personal brands, it's our job to go, you may not say yes, but if I don't ask, it's always a no. And if I don't ask, it's on me. If I ask, the decision gets to be yours. But if I don't, the problem is always mine.
Yeah, so just to address this idea of too expensive, what AJ said was so inspiring. I'll talk a bit about the tactical side of it. She referenced something we say all the time, which is that there is no such thing as expensive. There is only such a thing as relative. If I tell you I have a car for sale and the car is $10,000, is that expensive? Depends on what type of car it is, right? So all of money is relative to something. If you think something's expensive, you're going to have a hard time selling it because you've convinced yourself that it is expensive. So in order to sell more of that, you have to help yourself understand why and how it's not expensive. And that is to create context around your price. This is something that we call price anchoring, and it's actually a part of what we teach in our formal sales training is that there's 6 types of price anchors. So you want to anchor a price to someone's dream coming true. You want to anchor the price to someone's nightmare coming true. You want to anchor the price to the cost of them DIY, doing it themselves. You want to anchor the price, number 4 is to the cost of them doing nothing. And then the 5th price anchor is the cost of more expensive alternatives. And the 6th price anchor is the cost of other things they just spend money on. So if your thing costs $3,000, ask yourself, what dream does your thing help come true for someone else? And what is that worth, right? So if Brand Builders Group, our services are not $100,000, but let's just say they were $100,000. How could I justify that? And people do spend $100,000 to spend like a couple days with me. How do I possibly justify that? Well, I know that we can teach them things that will help them get multi-6-figure book deals. We can help them build multi-7-figure and 8-figure annual businesses. We can help them land keynotes that are $50,000, and we can teach them how to do that. So $100,000 once with me is a small number compared to how much revenue they're going to make from the things that we can teach them over the course of their time. So $100,000 might seem like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but it's a small amount of money compared to the dream of what's possible. So you have to ask yourself that. And then you have to go through the rest of those price anchors the same way. What happens if their nightmare comes true? What's that going to cost them? How much time and energy and stress? And can your product or service save them from that? So you go through that exercise with all of the different price anchors. And this is something that we help people do in the program. We actually built one of our custom bots that our community has. It will actually write your 6 price anchors for you if you give it the product and you tell a little bit about your avatar, because this is where you've got to be sold. And you're selling yourself not on something that is fake, but on something that is real. But you have to do the thinking. You have to think yourself through how and when and in what scenarios is it worth it. That's what price anchoring is all about.
Now, as any good salesperson should do, I'm going to ask you to do something right now. I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the podcast. Here's why you want to do that. You're going to learn more information than you could ever dream possible. You're going to get your MBA in business and in leadership for free if you just simply hit the subscribe button. So just follow my instructions. It's very easy. Click the button, tune in, and get more than you could ever dream possible for free by subscribing to this podcast. Like right now. Very serious. Get your finger, push the button, subscribe right now.